This session is called Local Search Optimization, and in this session, you're going to learn some specific techniques that you can use to rank highly in local searches. So by focusing on a local market, you are essentially eliminating 99% of the SEO competition that you have no need to compete with. Now, what this means is you're only going to be competing with businesses in your area. So let's say, for example, you have a local regional-based business such as a store, restaurant, or if you have a service-based business like a plumber or a landscaper, you don't need to be competing with businesses that are miles and miles and miles away or in another country. You only need to compete with people in your region. So this is good news because if you do have a local business, you only have to compete with people that are in your area. And this significantly brings down the difficulty to rank well for any particular keywords. So when you search Google, it's actually aware of what city that you are in based on how you're connected to the internet through your ISP or internet service provider, or if you happen to be logged into your Google account. So what this does is when you search for a certain type of keyword, Google will display relevant local results as opposed to results from all over the world. So let's say, for example, you're in San Francisco and you search for plumber. Well, considering that you're in San Francisco, chances are you're not interested in plumbers that are in Florida. So by displaying a local subset of all the results that Google knows about, they are delivering much more relevant search results to the users. So let's look at a few things that you can do to become a local authority and to start ranking very highly for local searches. So the first thing to do is to claim your local search profiles on all of the major search engines. So this means Google Places, Yahoo Local, and Bing Local. Now this process makes it very easy for the search engines to know where you're located and also what keywords you're relevant for. Another thing that they do in some cases is they will verify your address by sending you a postcard in the mail with a code on it that you then have to verify either by phone or by email. And what this does is it keeps their local search results very relevant and very accurate. So this helps weed out anybody that might be attempting to rank locally but doesn't actually have a local business. So now I'd like to take a couple of minutes here and show you how to get your local search profile on Google Places. So the first thing to do is to just go to google.com/places. From there, you're going to see a little splash page here. And there's two options, one about getting reviews and the other about getting your business found on Google. Now that's what we're going to want to do here. So to get started, just click Get Started Now. So the first thing you're going to have to do is sign in with your Google account. After that, you're simply going to have to put in your country and a phone number. What this is going to do is it's actually going to look up your phone number in their database and see if they have any information about your business already. Now, for the purposes of this training, I don't have an actual business number I'm going to put in. I'm just going to put in a sample here. So as you can see, it says no address found for that business. And now it's a huge web form that you can use to fill out where your business is located and some other information. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is enter some very basic information about your business, where it's located and things like that. Now, most of these values are required, as you can see by this red star next to them. For example, city or town, it's got the little red star. However, some of them aren't required, but they are very, very important. And the most important for SEO purposes is this one here, website. So although that field isn't required, you definitely are going to want to have a link to your website in this field here. Now let's scroll down and look at some of the other information you're going to need to put in. There's some information on the service area. For example, if this is just one location your business has, or if you have multiple locations, you can put the hours that you're open if you're a brick and mortar store, payment options, add photos, videos, and some other additional details. Now, this is another area that I wanted to focus on here. The additional details is a great place to put in keywords. So say, for example, your business is relevant to dog training, but maybe you also sell dog food, dog treats, leashes, things like that. This is a great place to put in keywords because these are going to help you be relevant when people are searching for those keywords in your geographic area. Your listing is much more likely to come up in their search. So once you've filled in all this information about your business, you'll simply click submit, and then you'll have your Google Places profile. So the next thing to do is to be active on local listing and review sites. So oftentimes when people do local searches, a local review site such as Yelp or CitySearch will actually show up in the results. So this means it's very important to both sign up and have a profile, but also be active on these sites. You need to pay attention to your reviews and always respond to any negative comments that you may get or any positive reviews that you may get. Another thing to do is to encourage happy customers who come into your store to go to Yelp and go to CitySearch and rate you, because they're likely to give you a good review and it'll help boost your rating. So most cities have regional directories or information guides or some sort of listing that you can be a part of. So one thing that you're definitely going to want to do is sign up for those regional directories and portals. And an easy way to find them is to just simply search Google for the city name directories or the city name guide, so on and so forth. For example, I did this search for San Francisco and I found baycityguide.com and a few others. So if you go through this process, you're going to find a handful of directories, and it's a great idea to go and sign up for as many as you can find. So another thing that works really well is to get local press attention. So Google is already looking at all of your local publications and they already see them as authorities. So if you have an article written about you and you have a link from that article to your website, that is a very valuable link from a local authority. And that's definitely going to help boost your rankings, especially in local search. So the next thing you'll want to do is competitive research on local businesses. Since you know that you're going to be competing with these local businesses specifically, you're going to want to look at them and take a look at what they're up to, maybe find some links that they have that you could go acquire for yourself. And a really easy way to find what pages are linking to your competitors is to do this simple Google search. So now I'd like to take a second and actually give you a real example of how to do this simple competitive research. So the example that I'm going to give is, let's imagine if you're going to open a grocery store here in Santa Cruz. So what we're going to first do is find the Santa Cruz Whole Foods page. We can probably assume that the local Whole Foods is probably getting some decent links. So let's take a look at this here. Now, as you saw in the slide before, we're going to search for the business name, then in quotes, the address. Now, I'm not selecting the entire address because this will probably get me a bit more results. Now, after this, you simply put a minus sign, then site, colon, and the address of the page, which you can see here as wholefoodsmarket.com/stores/Santa Cruz. So I'll put that there. Now, what this returns is all the pages out there that have the Whole Foods search term, the address in its entirety, except for the actual Whole Foods page. So what we're seeing here is a whole bunch of directories. We've got the Santa Cruz Sentinel, Happy Cow, 4 locations, a whole bunch of interesting places that Whole Foods is getting links, CitySearch. These are all places that would be great for you to start if you were a grocery store to go and get some links. So this is a very, very simple competitive research process that doesn't show you all of your competitors' links by any means, but it does show you links that they're getting that you could likely go and acquire relatively easily. Oftentimes, these are going to be directories, local publications, things like that. So this is a great place to start getting links for your business. So the next thing is to research local specific keywords. And in other videos, we've talked about the Google Keyword Tool. And for example, you could look at keywords like plumbers in San Francisco, essentially the keyword plus the region, and you can see what the search volume looks like. So you're going to want to do some specific local-based optimization. And another tool that Google has that's fantastic is called Google Insights for Search. Now, this tool allows you to pick a specific region, and you can see the trends for any particular keyword around the different counties in that area. So very, very useful tool when you're trying to figure out which keywords to go after when you're doing a local-based SEO campaign. So the next thing here is locals on-site optimization. And Just as in the other videos that we've talked about on-page optimization, this is specific to local SEO. And the two most important things that you can do is have a phone number and a physical address. Now, these things need to be text-based. Make sure they're not in an image, which I see on a lot of local businesses. But Google needs to know that you have a phone number and an address. These two things tell them specifically we are located here and we are in this area code. And I found that it's a best practice to have it at least twice, maybe once in the header and once in the footer. That seems to tell Google very clearly that when they come to your site and they see those things on every single page, your phone number and your address, they trust that that's where you're located and you're more likely to have those pages show up in local searches. So in conclusion, using what you've learned in this session, you can rank highly in even very competitive local markets by going and acquiring these high authority local based links and doing a little bit of local on-page optimization.